I put out this tweet just to stir some people up the other day. So I simply was asking this question, Zach. What is the record of the series between Ohio State and Michigan since you were born? That's all I'm asking.
Right.
And I know what I'm doing. Obviously, everybody that responds, unless they're 7 years old or they're 95, is going to respond in Ohio State's favor. So I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And so I would categorize the Michigan responses this way. About a third of the people said, we're very, very gracious Michigan fans, just simply stated, very in a class manner, we're down 23-17 or whatever the number was since I was born. And that was the end of it. And if they wanted to go on about the last 4 years or whatever, great.
Yeah, have at it.
You can post whatever you want, but you answered the question. Great. About a third of the people did nothing but whine and complain and make excuses and say all sorts of things. About a third, at least a third of these Michigan fans, Zach, just flat out lied. They just would say, oh, we're up 28-22. No, that's not correct. You're stating lies.
Right.
It's just hilarious. So if all we're going to do, and I understand, hey, if I'm a Michigan fan, I'm touting the last 4 years and I'm touting the all-time series record. Absolutely. They have every right to do that. But I think one of the reasons why you do what you do and I do what I do and other people like us is because there's context given to all this stuff. If all we're going to do is keep score, then none of us need to talk about it because all you have to do is look at the standings. But there's a lot of context to this series. I'll just throw one out. Michigan's won the most Big Ten championships. But since Ohio State joined the Big Ten, Ohio State's won more Big Ten championships. And last I checked, it's kind of tough to win a conference championship when you're not in the conference.
Yeah, really hard. It's actually impossible. You can't do it.
So, there's a little context there.
Absolutely.
I've thrown this one out too. It's 62-52 in the all-time series. And you can't tell me that, and again, Michigan fan, brag all you want. I would as well. But you can't tell me that you wouldn't have a different perspective on it. Let's say if Michigan had won the first 62 in a row and Ohio State's won the last 52 in a row, like that wouldn't change your perception of what's going on. Yeah, obviously there's context here.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a day and age where like Princeton was winning national championships. Like, I don't know. I always find it tough. Like when did college football? When did it count? Because I don't want to discredit anyone that played back in those days. Yeah. But like, what should we really be looking at here? Is it like around the Woody Hayes era? Like, how far back should we go? And Chris's point is always, once they started letting black players play, that's when college football changed. And so we should say, what is the record since that happened? Because it's a different game now.
Zach, I used the same point. 75% of the NFL players are black.
Right.
Therefore, the majority of great college football players, same thing. Yep. And, to play with, less than the full stack of the most talented players, and there's obviously not an exact date you can go to and say that's when the sport was segregated and became desegregated. So, I've thrown 1970 out there because by that time we had reached that point. And again, I'm not discrediting anyone who wants to bring up all-time numbers by any stretch. To your point, from the very first year of college football, hey, those guys were given effort and the games counted, they kept score, they marked it down. So it matters to some degree. But, when you couldn't throw a forward pass until 1914.
Right. It's like,
it's a different sport. They're playing rugby.
It absolutely was a different sport.
So, and if you're going to look it up, folks, actually the forward pass is well before 1914, but I've researched this a little bit. This is funny, Zach, because between the time that they instituted the forward pass, it was like 1906 and 1914 for like the first 8 to 10 years. If you threw an incompletion, you gave up the football. And you had to throw the ball from like 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and the ball had to go like past 20 yards. There were all these rules that made everybody scared to throw the ball because the penalties were so harsh that nobody wanted to throw the ball.
Right.
So,
It's basically just a Hail Mary. That's the only time you would do it.
exactly. So it's just funny stuff.